The book of Genesis ends with the death of Joseph, and the book of Exodus begins with a very brief recap of Joseph living in Egypt and bringing his family over from Canaan. Please note a very important detail. They were a group of about 70 people when Jacob and his sons migrated to the land of Goshen. Fast forward a couple hundred years later, and we have a people that have multiplied into thousands. I love what the Bible says in Exodus 1 verse 7. The Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They multiplied greatly, increased in numbers, and became so numerous that the land was filled with them. The climate of Egypt, the fertility of the soil, the natural virility of the Hebrew race, and the blessing of God together resulted in extraordinary growth in population. Historical experts place the time of the Exodus around the 15th century BC, and Joseph and his 11 brothers have long since died. At this point, the people of Israel have been in Egypt for a couple hundred years, mostly under the friendly rulership of the Hyksos, who were Semitic rulers and racially related to the Hebrews. Thus, we understand why there was a good relationship with the Hebrews for such a long time. But the Hyksos were not exactly loved by the local Egyptians because they were seen as foreigners, even though they worked in the interest of their Egyptian subjects. However, at some point, a local Egyptian prince revolts under the Hyksos rulership, and eventually, over time, a new dynasty of local Egyptian kings is established, known as the Pharaohs of the 18th dynasty, who, as the book of Exodus clearly states, did not know Joseph. And that's when trouble begins, because the Hebrews are viewed with suspicion by the new dynasty, since they were favored by the previous administration and were even racially related to them. We read in Exodus 1 verse 10 that the new Pharaoh says, "Come, we must deal shrewdly with them," the Hebrews, "or they will become even more numerous. And if war breaks out, we'll join our enemies, fight against us, and leave our country." Pharaoh was afraid that the Hebrews and the Hyksos would join forces and then leave Egypt, leaving him with less skilled workers, and that would be a very big problem for his kingdom. So he enslaved them. And under these circumstances, the rest of our story unfolds. Remember to join us tomorrow for another nugget.